So on the bass guitar, the strings you can see have a note value, which means they have the notes that they represent.
My name is Emmanuel Ude, known as emmyB. I want to welcome you to my new YouTube channel.
On this new YouTube channel, I'll teach you guys the essentials of a bass guitar, from the basic to the pro level groups. I'll teach you guys techniques, scales, and lines that make you sound like a real musician. I'll also share my experiences and lessons as a bass player. This is the place for beginner, growing players who want confidence on stage and in the studio. Subscribe and let's grow together. So when you play the first string, it has a note value of G. When you play the second string, it has a note value of D. When you play the third string, it has a note value of A. Okay, when you play the fourth string, it has a note value of E. And like you all know, I'm using a 5-string bass to teach you guys. So when you play the B string, it has a note value of B. So if you're using a 6-string bass to actually enroll in these lessons, your 6-string bass has an extra string on the bottom of your G string, which is your C string. Okay, so if you're playing a 4-string bass, you can go ahead and give yourself this phrase: go down and enter. Now, while I was learning the bass, my teacher taught me go down and enter. Because I was using the 5-string bass to learn, I actually added the B string to become back. Okay, so go down and enter back. For the 6-string bass, you can go ahead and give yourself a phrase. Okay, for the C, maybe let's see if we can get something. So C, G, D, we have come. You can go ahead and put something there, but so it makes it easy for you to actually remember these things. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the alphabet we have in music. In music, we use alphabet, tonic surfers, and then numbers to represent the keys and notes in music. Okay, so I'm going to be stating out the letters that we use. We have A to G, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you put them together, these are 7 notes or 7 letters. Okay, and now in music, we often hear that we have 12. But if you repeat the same note again, A, which will now make it an octave, 8, you now have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A, which makes it an octave. We are getting back to this, so we're just setting out the foundations. Okay, so we have 12 notes in music. Okay, now these 12 notes in music that we have sharps and flats. Some notes of the 7 notes we listed earlier has sharps, or we can represent them as sharps, while others we can represent them as flats. Okay, for example, the notes that have sharp, C sharp, your C has sharp, C sharp. D has sharp. E has no sharp. F has sharp. G has a sharp. And then A has a sharp too. Then B has no sharp. Then you can go straight to, okay? Now, before I go ahead and tell you guys the notes that we refer to as flats, because I said we have sharps and flats, I want to set out this foundation, okay? Now, most times when you're moving in ascending order, you can go ahead and name everything in sharps. And when you're moving in descending order, you can go ahead and name everything in flat. So let me give you an example. If I'm going in ascending order like we did at first, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. But you cannot say E sharp because we have a semitone movement from there. We're coming to that, okay? So that's why we have to call it like that. But if you're moving in descending order, so you have to go in descending order. Like the tone is going to be depreciating, which means that it's going to be reducing in pitch. For example, do, di, re, mi. Can you see how it's going up? So if we're going in descending order, the pitch will be going down. Mi, mo, re, di, do. Something like that. Do, di, re, mo, mi, mo, re, di, do. like that. If you're moving in ascending order, sharps. If you're moving in descending order, flat. Okay. Now at this point, I know you might be wondering, how do you get to identify where your notes are and know the distance between those notes? This is what we call interval. Now in music, there's what we call interval, which is literally the space or distance between a note to another note, which is referred to most times as whole step and half step, or tone and semitone. In whichever way you might be asked this question, okay? So when we talk about whole step and half step movements, we're simply trying to refer to how music interval is being measured, okay? Or the distance between a note to another note is being measured. So whole step movement is basically
moving 2 frets up or down. For example, open E string F sharp, which is 2nd fret, is a whole step.
Play. Half step movement is basically playing from the previous note to the next note. Let me give you an example. If I have as you can see, I did not skip any note. This is a half step movement. And then if I play something like this, this is a whole step movement. Okay? So I want to give you guys the formula for the major scale. So when we come for the next class, it's going to be easier for us to just build on it. Okay? So we have the whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's the formula for the major scale. Let me spell it out so you can see. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, so from what we just played, you discover that you can actually play your major scale on a single string. Now this literally tells you that every string you see here has the major scale on it, or has all the notes on it. But being able to master it depends on how well you understand the fret. Now the interval between all these notes will actually help you get a hold of it from the formula I just displayed on the screen. Okay, so if I'm on my 5, so what's the distance between so and fa, which is G to F, is a whole step backward, which is either or. You get? So from this understanding, that's why it is easy for us to actually now derive where these notes are on the fretboard. Let's do a very quick one on that. Now we have the open G string, and from what we have on the major scale, you know that from your G to A is a whole step. Do you see that? Okay, don't forget that an open string is like a note. Do you get? So if I play from here, it's a half step, and if I play from here, it's a whole step. Now what we are looking at is that there is a note before that note. Now did you skip any notes before you played the next note? This will determine if you're playing a whole step, whether you're playing from an open string or you're playing from a fretted note. Okay, when I say fretted note, I mean maybe you press down the fret. So I want you guys to take out your time to understand the distance and intervals between these notes and how it is being derived. So when we come to the next class, we're going to look at how it is also derived in the major scale.